Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here with another faction focused video. In this one we'll be taking a look at the Tau Empire. Now Tau have been kind of neglected as of late. They are the only faction that only have 2 warlords. Every other faction has 3 or 4 now, but Tau only the 2 options. And as we scroll through my collection, you can see a whole lot of green, which means that I have not been upgrading these units. And that's just because I haven't been playing as Tau at all in ranked mode recently. I think they can certainly be very powerful when played right. When I was first starting out, I remember a lot of players complaining about Tau being too powerful, and as a result they were hit with a number of nerfs to their key units, so they're not quite as strong as they used to be, but they still remain one of the most powerful ranged factions. If you're familiar with the tabletop game, Tau are all about shooting ranged weapons, and in combat cards they're no different. They have a lot of powerful ranged units, no psychers whatsoever, no psychic, and very weak melee. So let's just talk about some of the key units here that I've found useful, but first let's talk about the warlords. On the right here we have Commander Shadow Sun. She is the ranged option. Kind of low health for a warlord, but a pretty powerful ranged attack. Only one attack type, with precision shot being her trait. And Tau's special rules for their warlords are kind of unique in that they only activate once in the entire battle. So they can be very impactful and very strong, but you have to be kind of careful. And they activate when the last card is deployed. Now when the AI is controlling Tau, that means the warlord always deploys last, so that's when the special rule will activate. However, as the player, the warlord does not necessarily have to deploy last. So with Commander Shadow Sun, your deployed units will gain heal to full health, and also gain plus 20 ranged attack, which is quite a bit of range damage there. So with Shadow Sun, you just want to make sure that you have some strong shooters, some battle suits on the field when she deploys, and then hopefully you'll just be able to blast away with a whole lot of range damage. Now on the other hand, we got Commander Farsight, who's kind of unique among the Tau as being a strong melee fighter. A little bit more expensive in terms of points. He has more health, and only one attack type, which is melee, with the trait of Furious Charge. And his special rule basically just gives you a really powerful melee attack, just one time. It charges up your melee bar by a whole lot. So Farsight, I think, is the better option of the two, in my opinion. And he's able to just take out enemy warlords in one hit. That's what he's best at. And so I kind of prefer to use him. Obviously, you'll be using ranged units as your bodyguards, so you'll just go ranged for most of the battle, and then when Farsight deploys, hopefully he'll be opposite the enemy warlord, and you'll just be able to take it out with that melee attack. Now let's take a look at the bodyguards here. Up at the top, we got 2 very powerful, very expensive battle suits. The Riptide is my personal favorite. This is one of the few units I've upgraded to quite a high level, and you can see pretty ridiculous stats, lots of health, huge amount of range damage, as well as a decent melee attack, making it a very powerful card. But at that high of a cost, it is kind of hard for lower level players to use. Got the legendary option here, the Rivarna battlesuit. This thing, I could upgrade it to 3, but I've chosen not to. It recently got the Big Game Hunter trait, but its stats aren't quite as good as the Riptide, so I haven't used this very much. Don't find it as useful. Over here, another very useful card, which I have at level 9, the Broadside Battlesuit. This is definitely one of the staples of any Tau deck. It has a whole lot of firepower for relatively low points cost. It used to actually be cheaper, but they increased the cost by a bit. So there's that one, and then the Ghost Kill Battlesuit is another one that you see quite a bit. and it has Scout as its trait, so when it deploys, it will buff your ranged by a little bit, but it has a pretty powerful ranged attack there. So I guess we can just talk about some of the other battlesuits here. This is another broadside battlesuit, slightly cheaper one, and it was recently given Big Game Hunter, so it could be used to take out some of the expensive enemy units. Yeah, not too strong at the lower levels, but at the higher levels it can deal quite a bit of damage. This right here is the definition of glass cannon. Kind of an expensive points cost with very little health, but it does a huge amount of damage. And I found it pretty useful. It has precision shots, so it can snipe enemy units and then just deal a lot of range damage. And there are a couple crisis battlesuits, like this one. This one was also given Big Game Hunter. It did have precision shot before, but it's kind of useful with its low points cost. It can fit into a deck if you have some extra points. So those are the battlesuits that I've used the most, but yeah, my favorite option is just simply to go with the Riptide, the Broadside, and the Ghost Keel battlesuit. These three, along with the Warlord, if you have the points, is a pretty powerful combo. Just going to talk very briefly about some of these other units, which I don't really see at all, but we got the Krutox Rider. This has been a very weak card, but it was given Berserk, which is interesting. I think it's the only Tau Berserker, so I don't know. I'd like to try to use it somehow, but I'm not really sure how. Some of these Krut Carnivores are the few melee fighters that Tau have, but they just really aren't that great and don't synergize too well with the Tau strategy. So as for the support units, Tau have a lot of drones and some of these leader type units with okay, this one has Taunt. They have a number of Taunt units. I also have a few with Inspiring Presence. I haven't really used the Inspiring Presence ones at all. It could be good though, in combination with those powerful ranged units. As for drones, my personal favorite, and I think one of the most useful ones, is this very cheap one. Only 4 points, but the Shield Drone is very useful. Having Taunt, it can protect your more valuable cards, and it also has a ranged debuff, so when you are shooting with your ranged battlesuits, this thing will also be debuffing the enemy ranged, which makes it good when you're facing enemy ranged decks. So yeah, the shield drone I've found the most useful. I haven't really used a whole lot of the other drones. I have been seeing some of the gun drones used a little more often recently, but I just have not upgraded most of them, so it's really just not worth using. Again, it is best to use your highest level cards, I think, and in my case, the highest level cards I have are the ones that have been around for the longest time. So that's just a quick look at the Tau faction. I'm hoping that they do release some more interesting cards though, and especially Warlords that could change up the meta for them, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see and be patient. So let me know if there are any cards in here that you think are worth talking about. But yeah, let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.